It's a new year, but let me ask you something quietly. Do you actually feel like the old year is over, or does it still live in your mind? Because for a lot of people, the calendar changes, but mentally they're still stuck replaying everything that went wrong. The mistakes, the disappointment, the things they wish they handled differently. And no one really talks about this part. Everyone talks about moving on, about fresh starts, about being positive, but no one teaches you how to mentally close a year, especially when it wasn't a good one. So if last year drained you, if it disappointed you, if it changed you in ways you didn't expect, this video is not here to tell you to be grateful or look on the bright side. This is about closure, real closure, because you can't fully step into a new year while emotionally living in the old one. So take a breath, you're not behind, you're not broken, you just haven't closed the chapter yet. Let's do that together. So what is the reason bad years don't end on their own? Here's something important to understand. Time doesn't automatically heal emotional weight. Years end on the calendar, but emotionally, they end only when you process them. That's why a bad year can follow you for months, even years, if you never pause to acknowledge what it took from you. Most people try to escape bad years by rushing them forward. They distract themselves with goals, they overwhelm themselves with plans. They tell themselves, I don't want to think about it anymore. But avoidance doesn't create closure. Unprocessed experiences don't disappear. They turn into tension, anxiety, self-doubt. If you felt heavy at the start of this year, it's not because you're negative, it's because something inside you hasn't been released yet. And that doesn't mean you failed, it means you're human. Giving yourself permission to admit it was hard. Let's do something simple but uncomfortable. Let's stop pretending last year was fine. If it was hard, say that. If it hurt, acknowledge it. You don't need to justify it, you don't need to compare it to anyone else's pain. A bad year doesn't have to look dramatic to be heavy. Sometimes it is quiet disappointment, constant stress, feeling stuck, losing yourself slowly. And maybe you kept going anyway. Maybe you showed up when you didn't want to. Maybe you survived silently. That matters. Closing the year starts with honesty, not toxic positivity, not rushing healing. Just saying, yes, that year took something out of me, because what you acknowledge, you can finally release. Now let's talk about letting go of the version of you that didn't make it. Here's a part no one prepares you for. Sometimes what hurts most isn't what happened, it's who you thought you would be by now. The version of you that had it figured out, the version that didn't struggle so much, the version that made different choices. And without realizing it, you might still be holding on to that version, judging yourself for not becoming them. But listen carefully. That version of you only existed with limited information, limited experience, limited awareness. The version of you now has survived more than you give yourself credit for. Closing the year means grieving the expectations that didn't come true, and that's not weakness, that's maturity. You can't carry old identity into a new season. You have to let go gently. Stop replaying, start releasing. If the year was bad, your mind probably plays it on a loop. The what ifs, the I should have known betters, the moments you wish you could redo. But replaying is not reflection. Reflection brings clarity. Replaying brings pain. So instead of asking, why did this happen to me, ask, what did this teach me about myself? Not lessons like be stronger, work harder, but deeper ones like what drains me, what do I tolerate too long, what boundaries did I ignore? Bad years are not punishments, they're information. And once the information is taken, the pain no longer needs to stay. Forgiving yourself for how you coped. This part is important. You might not like how you handled last year. Maybe you avoided things, maybe you shut down, maybe you stayed too long or gave too much or tried too hard. But coping is not the same as failing. You did what you could to survive. Forgiveness here doesn't mean pretending your choices were perfect. It means understanding why you made them. Self-compassion closes chapters faster than self-criticism ever will. You don't heal by punishing yourself into becoming better. You heal by allowing yourself to move forward without shame. And remember, closure is not forgetting, it's accepting. Many people think closure means I don't feel anything anymore. That's not true. Closure means this no longer defines me, controls me. You may remember the year, you may still feel sadness when you think about it, but it no longer defines your future. Acceptance doesn't mean you liked what happened, it means you stopped fighting reality. When you stop fighting reality, you regain energy. Energy to build, energy to choose differently, energy to start again calmly. So, how to step into the new year with a clear mind. Here's how you mentally close the year gently. You stop asking to give you what it couldn't. You stop waiting for an apology that never came. You stop expecting the past to fix itself. Instead, you say, that chapter shaped me, but it doesn't get to follow me. You don't need to rush happiness, you don't need instant motivation, you just need mental space. And mental space is enough to begin again. So, if you're watching this at the beginning of the year and you still feel heavy, there's nothing wrong with you, you're just finishing something internally. So take your time, close the chapter with honesty. Release it with compassion and step forward without dragging it behind you. You don't owe the past any more of yourself. This year doesn't need a hated version of you, it just needs a present one. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.